morning students, welcome to the lecture number 5 of chapter number 8. Okay, so we have discussed about the various types of quadrilateral in the previous lecture. We have discussed that quadrilateral are of two types on the basis of the diagonals such as convex quadrilateral and concave quadrilateral. Similarly, on the basis of the length of the sides, the quadrilateral are of two types: regular quadrilateral in which all the four sides and four angles are equal, and the second thing is irregular quadrilateral where the sides are of unequal length. Okay, so except these two types of quadrilateral, there are also some other types of quadrilateral on the basis of different properties. Then what are they? This is our matter of discussion. Okay, so according to the various properties of the quadrilateral are of 6 types. How many types? They are of 6 types. So what are they? The first one is known as parallelogram. Okay, second is kite. Then third is rectangle, square, rhombus and trapezium. Right. So on the basis of various properties, okay, the quadrilateral are of different types. How many types? They are of 6 types. Okay, and these are the 6 types of quadrilateral. Now we will discuss each type with vividly. Okay, so let us start with the first type, which is known as parallelogram. Okay, let's start with parallelogram. So now let us understand the first type of quadrilateral, which is known as parallelogram. Right. So we have to first understand the exact definition of parallelogram. Then we will verify and define its other properties. Okay. So let us first understand what is a parallelogram. Right. So first thing is that in order to be parallelogram, the figure must be a quadrilateral. That means the figure must have 4 sides and all the 4 sides must be bounded. Otherwise it will not be a parallelogram or it will not be a quadrilateral. So the first and foremost important thing is the figure need to be a quadrilateral. Okay. So here as you can see, it is a quadrilateral. Yes or no? Yes. So in order to be parallelogram, the first thing is that the figure ABCD must be a quadrilateral. Okay, that means it must have 4 sides. If it has 3 sides, then it is known as triangle. Na? How it could be called as a quadrilateral? So now coming to the second point, which is the most important point, second and third point. What are they? The second point is that already we know what is consecutive sides, what is consecutive angles, what is non-consecutive sides or opposite sides. We know it. See, if we consider the side AD, then AD has how many consecutive sides? Tell me. The side which is related to this AD is known as consecutive sides or neighborhood sides. So, to the side AD, AB side is related and DC side is related. So, these two are what? Consecutive sides. Then what is the non-consecutive sides of AD? This BC. So, AD and BC are non-consecutive sides or they are known as opposite side. Understood? So in order to be a parallelogram, the opposite side of the quadrilateral must be equal. As you can see here, AD and BC are opposite. Similarly, AB and DC are also opposite sides. Yes or no? Yes. This side opposite, this side opposite. So in order to be parallelogram, the opposite sides must be equal in length. It means the length of AD must be equal to the length of BC. Okay. Similarly, the length of AB must be equal to the length of DC. Clear? So you can write it. The opposite sides must be equal in length. Right? For example, if we take this as 6 cm, then this must be 6 cm. If we take this as 4 cm, then it must be 4 cm. Okay? So opposite side must be equal. Or you can write here AD is equal to BC because these two are opposite, and AB is equal to DC. Understood? Next, moving to the third condition, which is also the most important condition, right? So what is the third condition? The third condition is that the opposite side of the quadrilateral must be parallel. Okay, here AD and BC are opposite sides, and these two sides must be parallel. Similarly, AB and DC are also opposite sides. Here also these two opposite sides must be parallel. Okay, so this side must be parallel to this side must be parallel to this side. So you can write the opposite sides must be parallel. Do you get this? So simply you can write AD parallel to BC, AD parallel to BC, and AB parallel to DC. Okay, so you can symbolically represent them. This parallel to this. Similarly, this AB is parallel to DC. Understood? So this is the most important conditions in order to be parallelogram. So we have known now how to find or how to identify a parallelogram. In order to be parallelogram, these three conditions must be satisfied. If any one condition is skipped, then it can never be a parallelogram. Understood? So these three properties, these are the properties, are the compulsory properties. Okay. All these three properties must be satisfied in order to be parallelogram. Every quadrilateral, if they satisfy all the three conditions, then it will be a parallelogram. Okay. Now we will discuss some other optional property. Okay, extra properties. Okay, of this parallelogram. But these three are the compulsory properties. These three properties must be satisfied. Next, coming to the optional properties. Okay, that means extra properties. Optional properties. So what are the optional properties of parallelogram? Let's understand. See, in a parallelogram, as you can see, for angle A, okay, for angle A, tell me which are the consecutive angle of angle A. Which two are consecutive angle of angle A? I am talking about angle A. Okay. Now, angle A has two arms, this arm and this arm. This arm is related to angle B. This arm is related to angle B. So, angle A has two consecutive angles B and D. Now, which one is the non-consecutive angle of angle A? Tell me, C angle. So, angle A and angle C are non-consecutives. That means they are opposite. Right? What are they? They are opposite. Now, based on this concept, we have to write the first optional property of parallelogram. What is it? According to the property 1, it said that the opposite angles of a parallelograms are equal. A and C are opposite angles, so they are equal. For angle B, the opposite angle is this angle T. Then these two are also equal. So the opposite pair of angles must be equal. Okay, we can write it. The pair of opposite angles, okay, must be equal. As here for angle A, the opposite angle is C. So A and C must be equal. And B and D are opposite, so B and D must be equal. Okay, if this angle is 50 degree, then no doubt you have to write this angle is 50 degree. Right? If this angle is 110 degree, then you have to write yes, this angle is also 110 degree. And do you get this? Okay, moving to the next condition, next optional condition. Right? So what is the next condition? The next condition is that the sum of any two consecutive angle, the sum of any two consecutive angle, two consecutive angles, right, is always 180 degree. The sum of any two consecutive angle is 180 degree. So let us find the consecutive angles here, right? See, for the angle A, as we know, D angle is consecutive. So A and D are consecutive angles. Then according to the second condition, the sum of any two consecutive angle is 180 degree. Similarly, angle A and angle B are consecutive. So sum of A and B also 180 degree. Here we know A and D are consecutive, so their sum is 180. A and B are consecutive, so their sum is 180. Okay. Similarly, if we consider angle B, then find the two consecutive angle of angle B. See, this is this arm which is related to angle C, and this arm is related to angle A. So what we can write? B and C are consecutive, so their sum is always 180. B and A are consecutive, so their sum is always 180. Okay. So according to the second condition, the sum of any two consecutive angles must be 180 degree, or they are known as supplemental. Supplementary means 180 degree. Similarly, you can write, okay, so the sum of any two consecutive angle is 180 degree. Okay. For example, A and B are consecutive. Here you can write A plus B is equal to 180. B and C are consecutive, so B plus C is equal to 180. C and D are consecutive, so C plus D is equal to 180. D and A are consecutive, so D plus A is equal to 180 degree. Okay, so these four conditions must be satisfied by the parallelogram. Now these two are the optional property of the parallelogram, and these three are the compulsory property. So these three conditions is must needed. Okay, and these are extra part, but it also must be satisfied. But this is the most important thing, right? So for the first condition we have discussed that their opposite angles must be equal, and for the second condition we discussed their consecutive angles are added to give 180 degree. Okay, how? Let's see. If this angle is given 130 degree, then could you tell what is the value of this angle? Let's see. As we know, A and B are consecutive, so A plus B is 180 degree. Without any doubt, you can write angle A is 130 plus B is equal to 180. So what is the value of B? The value of B is 180 minus 130 is 50. Right? Now we find that these two angles must be added to give 180. 130 plus 50 is how much? 180. If the question asks you to find the value of C, could you find it? Yes. Because A and C are opposite, and we know the opposite angles are equal. So it must be 130. And B and D are equal. If this angle is 50 degree, then definitely this angle must be 50 degree because they are opposite angles. Okay. So these two properties are the most important optional property that you have to remember. Now let us understand some other properties of that parallelogram. Okay. So if you want, you can take the screenshot of it. Right. So let us understand some other properties of the parallelogram. Okay. So what are the other properties? Let us discuss. As you know, in a quadrilateral, then how many diagonal is possible for a quadrilateral? Tell me. Here ABCD is a parallelogram, right? Now, in this parallelogram, how many diagonals are present here? Two diagonals, definitely. This is the first diagonal. Diagonals are the line joining two non-consecutive vertex and BD. So it has two diagonals, SC and BD. So always remember the length of these two diagonal may be equal or they may not be equal. That doesn't matter. Either the length of AC is 10 centimeter, then definitely the length of BD may be equal to 10 centimeter or greater than 10 centimeter or less than 10 centimeter. So the length of two diagonal may be equal, may not be equal. Okay. Third property. The length of diagonal may or may not be equal. Okay. Now it is clear. Second thing, as you can see, the diagonal AC and the diagonal BD meet each other at a common point, isn't it? Yes. Let's say this point is O. Let's say this point is O. Now, according to the fourth property, it tells you that at the point of meeting or at the point of intersection between two diagonal, each diagonal is bisected. At the point of intersection, each diagonal is bisected. It means what? Let's understand it. Suppose AC is 10 centimeter. Suppose BD is 12 centimeter. Okay. Now AC and BD meet each other at a common point. Let's say this is point O and it is also known as point of intersection. Okay. Now the properties of parallelogram is that at this point, the diagonal BD is bisected. Bisected means it is divided into two equal halves. Right? Since we have taken the length of BD as 12 centimeter, then at this point, this 12 centimeter is divided into two equal halves. This is the first half, BO, and this is the second half, BO. And these two halves are equal. They are equal. So each half will be how much? 6 centimeter and 6 centimeter. Understood? So we can write symbolically. This is equal to this. BO is equal to DO. Okay. Similarly, at the same point of intersection, another diagonal AC is also bisected. It means this AC is divided into another two equal halves. Okay. What are the two halves? Tell me. One is AO, another is CO. And these two halves are equal. Since this distance is 10 centimeter, we have taken for an example. It means this half must be 5 centimeter, this half must be 5 centimeter. Okay, or you can write symbolically, this distance is equal to this distance. Okay, so what we found here? We found at the point of intersection, the two diagonal bisect each other. They bisect each other. It means the diagonal BD bisect AC. It means BD divides AC into two equal halves. Similarly, AC divides BD into two equal halves. Like this, suppose this is BD, right? Another diagonal AC divide BD into two equal halves. Okay? Similarly, if we take AC like this, okay, then at the point of intersection, another line or another diagonal BD bisect AC. Okay, so finally we have known that at the point of intersection, two diagonals bisects each other. Okay, it means this half is equal to this half and this half is equal to this half. You can write it down. So at the point of intersection, the two diagonals bisects each other. Okay, now it means this half is equal to this half and this half is equal to this half. Okay, now it is clear. So these all properties of parallelogram are the most important optional properties, and you have to remind it. But the most important thing are these three composite properties. Without satisfying these three conditions, a quadrilateral can never be a parallelogram. No, this may be followed or not followed, but these three are the most important.